What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Super Otaku Show. How you guys doing? As always, we are joined by Taylor Made Otaku. How you doing, Taylor? Oh no, I don't hear you.
What's good? It's your boy Fooly Cooley today. What's going on? I had myself muted.
And the shooting star Sheriff himself. How you doing, Sharif?
So I realized that if you try to make a grilled cheese and you put it in the oven instead of putting it on a skillet like everybody else, it cooks everything else except for like the cheese on the inside. So you have burnt cheese on the outside and then like cold cheese on the inside. But what's going on? I'm fine. It's cooking problems inside. I'm good.
You gotta put it on broil.
Thank you.
This is what we're here for, guys. We're going to teach you how to make the best grilled cheese. And finally, my Roman half. How you doing, Aaron? Now, you're muted.
I'm doing well, thank you. Sorry, I was hitting the wrong button, and then Sharif disappeared, and that threw me off.
I do want to point out real quick before this goes any further that I feel like I lost my beard and Aaron gained it. What happened?
I'm stealing your power slowly. Also, I don't like this. I will gladly shave if it means any part of your facial hair starts coming back. I don't like this, Scott.
It'll be back
I'm
in like
strictly
2
opposed
weeks,
to it.
guys.
Please,
we'll be back.
Let's hurry this process up. Do you need some some oils or something? Anything to speed that process up?
Maybe, but Sharif is gone. He has become a spinning pinwheel of doom. Has that happened for everybody else too?
Yes.
Yeah, he just black.
Yep. He's just two little purple cubes that spin infinitely.
He's two square dancing.
And he's gone.
And Taylor is now
favorite joke.
bisected at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. I've always
Or
wanted to go
Sharif,
this way.
what can any of our followers please support our new charity to get better internet to Sharif?
That's our only dream. That's our goal for the channel is to find a way to install better internet in Sharif's community so that we can have this problem.
It's very bad. What is happening right now?
Oh, dude, it is. It's the worst. I don't know. This is the worst it's been. That at the beginning, it's normally not until we're a third into the show that it kicks up. Oh,
I'm here.
hi, buddy.
You are. Hi again.
All right. While we have everybody, I guess we can start with the usual roundtable of what has everybody been watching and reading this week? Who wants to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm continuing to watch Odd Taxi. Still an amazing show. Still worth watching. Watched a little bit more of My Hero. I'm kind of just going week to week on both My Hero and Odd Taxi at this point, as they release. The last episode of My Hero was actually good, finally. Because they did the whole challenge in one episode, and it was Bakugo being cool, and it was all right, finally a good episode to watch. So there was that.
What number is that?
I don't know. I have no idea what episode they're on at this point, but I do know the whole episode.
I'm gonna skip that episode. I'm just gonna skip that episode.
Oh, it's a good episode. It's really.
I
good.
hate Bakugo.
I like that he's finally grown in any direction whatsoever. That at least there's that. That this episode has shown Bakugo's growth, which is, thank God.
Oh no, Sharif's gone again.
This is horrible. Poor Sharif. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. Does Adventure Time count as an anime?
No, it does not.
Yes,
I watched.
Why does Adventure Time count as an anime?
Everything counts as anime.
Yeah.
If you ask anybody in Japan, everything counts as anime.
I can't fight on that one.
I watched Distant Lands, all 3 movies that came out on HBO Max. If you're not aware, the show Adventure Time is over, and recently they're creating spin-off little films. I guess I don't know if they'd be considered full films. I think they're 45 minutes at most. But they're cute. They're really good.
It's
I like
Adventure Time OVAs.
Yeah. But they're very heavy.
I like that Taylor is just half and half in each of the boxes. The bottom, you have to now carry half of the show because Sharif's gone. That's what we're trying to say.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully he gets back soon. Taylor, what about you? What have you been checking out?
Actually, let me look up what it's actually called because I don't want to ruin. Did I count? I did not count. Okay. It's called Vivi Fluorite Eyes Song. I don't know if I said that second word right. I don't really care. I'm illiterate, but basically it's about this it's like based in like a world where like artificial intelligence is like around and it's like working like at theme parks and like there's this robot named Vivi whose entire purpose, her entire job is just to sing, just to sing for people and make them, you know, sing like little concerts in front of
She's like a Vocaloid. Like,
yeah, but she sings like on a time schedule, so she just walks out, she sings whether there's somebody there or nobody there. And so there's this I forgot what it actually is, but there's like this time traveler who comes back to get her to save, you know, the human race because, you know, humans always be forever messing stuff up.
yeah.
And he's like, yeah, they start doing stuff and then they start dying and then we start taking over. So help me prevent that. And she's like, dog, I just be singing.
That sounds interesting.
I am a singing robot, sir.
He's like, I just be out here singing. And he's like, yeah, but they pointed out you specifically, so there's something special about you. And they helped some high-ranking dude not die in the first episode, which is nice and cool. So I've been watching that. It's actually really fantastic.
I will have to give that a look then. I have been like diving like into just a whole bunch of stuff. I've been reading more Rosario Vampire, trying to finish that.
I like Rosario Vampire.
I love it. Like Sukune and like Mocha, like I love that. That gives me all the feels. But it's a series I read most of it in high school. I own the vast majority of the manga volumes, but I never got the like last 3 of them. I don't know why. I just stopped buying them for some reason. I think I might have been getting ready to go to college, and I just didn't have the money.
I think I have all of them.
So
I better have all of them.
But like the whole runs are on Shonen Jump, so you can like for the $2 a month, like you can read the whole run. God, Shonen Jump should pay me with the amount of shilling I do for them. Anyway,
They should. They should pay everybody.
really. So the other things that I've been checking out, I finished Horimiya, which is just one of my favorite shows from last season.
Hey.
That is like if anybody wants like a slice of life like romantic like dramedy type deal, like if you're in that mood, Horimiya is 13 episodes. It is a complete like arc and romance. Like it doesn't need another season or more episodes or anything additional to enjoy it on its own, and I really appreciated that because so often, you know, so like because you never know with some of these series, like they're gonna end at the end and you don't know if we'll ever get the next part. So I really appreciated that. Keeping up with the Card Fight Vanguard, of course, and I started the show a friend of mine recommended called Hyoka, and that one's interesting.
Yeah, it's cute. It's great.
It's definitely not my like normal cup of tea, but there are like moments that really pull me in. So I'm watching it subbed too, which is not normally my jam. So I like it's been a weird world for me.
Scott needs to take my advice and watch Odd Taxi. Scott is the main character of Odd Taxi. He is the walrus. He is the grumpy walrus.
Cuckoo Kachu. It's funny that because like you mentioned Odd Taxi and like I saw a bunch of stuff on Twitter over the last week of people being like, "Dude, Odd Taxi!" Like this
really
may,
that's surprising.
I saw 1 or 2 tweets about people being like, that, like low key, this show might be anime of the year, and I was like,
it really. I'm telling you, it comes out of nowhere, and its story and characters are written so well. Like, I guess everybody just kind of has their expectations of what most anime is at this point, and there's so much anime out there. There's way more anime now than it's ever existed. They just keep pumping out new shows, and I think Odd Taxi is in such a place where both it breaks your expectations and it draws you in with this really compelling story that is entirely grounded for being a story that revolves around a bunch of
Animals,
like
in Texas.
anthropomorphic animals, which is oddly not a thing that's brought up often in the show. So like, you know how there's like there's a genre of anthropomorphic animals where like the fact that they're animals is kind of important to the story itself, like your B stars.
Yeah.
Like B stars, you know, that plays an integral role in the story is what kind of animal you are. In Odd Taxi, it's like there's no mention of it, but they're cognizant.
It's like a
of it.
Gretzko, where they just happen to be animals.
Yes, but they're also like cognizant of it, where it's like in like the first episode, the gorilla doctor asks the walrus, he's like, "What do I look like to you?" And the walrus is like, "A gorilla." It's, it's like, it's really weird that you mention that, but I guess this is just a world where you all coexist and don't care.
Yep, that's weird. It sounds neat. Like I'm definitely into like checking it out. I've been like watching as much as I can. I'm trying to like keep my diet of media intake balanced. It's been a weird mix of anime and manga and getting way too into emo music again because of this YouTube series that I love, and I'll show you. I'll share that off stream. It's hysterical. It's this dude who does these little bits where he like messes with his girlfriend by becoming an emo guy and singing emo songs. It's hysterical. Anyway,
I think I've seen something about this on Twitter. There's some sort of thing going around.
Yeah, this guy
I want to say that's it.
Does these emo not dead videos? There's part of me. He released an actual song, which makes me like it's like an actual emo song, but it's clearly like a gag joke song too, like poking fun at like the stereotype. And there's part of me that wants to make an AMV for it because it's not a real like 2000s emo song until it has an AMV of something from
true.
back then.
It's true. It's got to involve Sasuke somehow, just being a sad boy.
I'm gonna look up like the top 10 waifus from like that era, and then just make an AMV using them. That's the jam. See, look, I got Taylor's attention now. Now I have backup on this.
Oh, you know what you got to do?
Which era?
Like the like 2000,
early 2000s.
like 5 to 2010.
Oh.
You know what you got to do?
Hit me up. I got you, son.
You know what you got to do? You got to edit it like a karaoke video, where like the like clips overlapping each other and like one's played in slow motion.
I'm kind of really into this idea. Like, I think it'd also be like some really great practice.
Good content.
Sharif, are you here?
Yeah.
All right. So if you're gonna keep cutting out, if you need to, we can try doing you an audio only, and you will just be a blue box today if you think that'll help.
Stop cutting me in half, dog.
I think I should be fine now, though. I think I should be okay.
Because I don't see your video yet, but I don't know if that's just like the.
Oh, I see his video.
Oh.
He here.
All right.
It's just not on your screen for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's my internet that's being bad today too. Well, if it comes back, it comes back. If not, we have at least his audio.
I'm here though.
Cool. And since Sharif is back, we're gonna move into the news. Now, I'm sure anybody watching knows already the biggest, saddest news of the week is that Kentaro Miura, the creator of Berserk, one of the legends of anime. It's something that's been around since. I think it was like the late 80s, early 90s. Berserk started up. He passed away this week at just 54. Berserk will sadly forever remain unfinished, but it is a legend in and of itself. Man, like it's rough. I've been really appreciating some of the awesome tributes people have been putting out. The Final Fantasy XIV community, man, we got it. Like that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. If anybody doesn't know, in every major city on every server in Final Fantasy XIV, all the Dark Knights lined up to say goodbye, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, so. I don't know much about Berserk. I never watched the animes. I never read the mangas. So the news didn't hit me the same way it seemed to hit everybody else, because Twitter was quite a buzz about this news. Like, just people posting manga panels, people talking about their own personal experiences with Berserk. So if anybody on here has any like personal experience with Berserk in any way that it might have affected them, please share, because I don't have any connection with this material.
You guys,
Well, I I read the manga, and it's I read the manga and I watched the anime, like the original, not like the remakes that are honestly not it. But yeah, it's a really
oh,
dark.
sure.
He dead again. It's it's a dark thing. It's like basically, to sum it up, the main character's name is Guts, and to sum up the entirety of it, Guts cannot get a single W.
Yeah.
And when he finally gets a W, and then he gets it taken away.
Mm-hmm.
He,
Yeah.
he gets one of the biggest and saddest L's I've ever seen in anime. I'm just gonna say that.
And it's at every turn, man. Like it's so sad, but he's like the archetypal badass dude with a big sword.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the reason that's an anime like trope. He is the dude in the black armor with the black sword being awesome. Like if we had to pick a mascot for it, it's him. I actually got into Berserk only like a year or so ago. I watched the CGI movies, which people said were decent, and the anime is bad. So I watched the movies, and I was like, oh, these are actually cool. And I read some of the manga that I could find, and I was like, this is much darker, much different, and less like. Because I always expected Berserk to be this just like dude winning and being like ridiculous. Like I always expected like a Fist of the North Star deal. And it's not. It's a much like darker like fantasy and drama, and it's worth a look if you're into that kind of thing.
I gotta say, I'm definitely thinking about trying to get my hands on the mangas, just because seeing some of the artwork people have been posting, it is wild how talented the author was as an artist. Just high detail in every panel, just explosive imagery. It's like the kind of stuff you'd see in like a medieval portrayal of hell. Just really cool looking stuff. And I think what a lot of people's, it seems what the consensus is that the darkness of the manga and the story, but its central message of continuing forward regardless, really stuck with people. Because I don't know, life kind of sucks, and sometimes it can feel like you never get a W, and it's just L after L, and characters like that make it feel, at least like you're not alone in that type of environment.
Definitely. Like my last thing on it is just that one of the things I've appreciated most, like in getting to see like how talented an artist he is all the like retweets of his artwork of other people's series that he like would send
I
to
haven't seen
people
that.
as gifts. My favorite one, anybody who knows me knows I adore Hajime no Ippo. And he had an image he had sent to George Morikawa of Takamura, which is one of the main characters, as like a thank you because Miura had worked as an assistant to him when they both were first becoming mangaka when they were like 19 and 18. And it was this like really beautiful image of Takamura just being like awesome and like doing his like signature staring up confidently pose. And they're like, this dude can do anything. So it's a shame that we lost such like an amazing mangaka and before he got to like finish his story.
Yep.
So anyway, in order to brighten the mood, if nobody else has anything else, I am going to change the topic to something much lighter to make the day go a little better. eBay's getting rid of anime porn.
Wait, what?
What?
What does that even mean?
What?
So this is from Anime News Network. I'm gonna paraphrase this, but basically eBay announced this week that they're going to be getting rid of the adult-only listing of items on their site. So, like, porn as a whole is going to be gone. But basically, a lot of people sell, like, a lot of, like, NC-17, like, anime, manga, a lot of figures and stuff. I totally didn't used to scroll through there when I was, like, little Scott. looking at
I did.
those.
Sure.
That's not why I know that this is a thing. I didn't stare at all the
I'm mad as
uncensored.
shit right now.
But it's just like a weird thing to choose the censor, especially if it's like an area of the website that can be like locked a little bit. I don't know why it's happening, but yeah.
Yeah, whenever was eBay a family friendly auction site? Like the whole point of it, like I thought like the whole point of eBay was specifically to get your hands on stuff you couldn't normally get your hands on, and frankly like that kind of stuff fits that bill pretty well in the West. At least at used to. I mean, I'm sure it's much easier now to get yourself some anime porn figurines or whatever. But yeah, it's a very odd choice. Like, why does eBay care all of a sudden about porn?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean,
Tumblr
started all this by getting rid of all the good porn. I'm
I mean,
blaming
it's
Tumblr.
Tumblr was probably, I mean, that choice probably made sense to them because their idea was like, we'll just have a less toxic space and just that porn will exist everywhere else because honestly, like Reddit's picked up the porn.
Which is why we're all on Reddit now.
Everybody's on Reddit. Tumblr's just a place to post your fun fan stuff. To be fair, though, a lot of that
nobody
fan
does
stuff
that
was
anymore.
probably porn.
We're not there anymore. We all left. Went to Reddit. So yeah, there's that. That's just the thing. It's going on. Sharif, are you here? Are you saying words? I don't. Do you guys hear Sharif at all? I can see his bubble and I can see the flashing, but I hear.
This
no
is like that. This is like that really
Yeah,
bad
I'm here.
horror movie.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay, he's here. I was about to say this is like that really bad horror movie, you know, that's like supposed to take place over a Skype call, like a ghost is killing them all.
Yeah.
God, that movie sucked.
Everybody, hands up! Who's doing this?
Oh my God, he's typing it himself. Ah.
Oh man.
Millennial scary.
The
movie.
the concept was there. Like,
See-
I'm not gonna lie, concept wise, I was like, okay, I'm on board. We'll see how they do this, and then the execution's just terrible.
The twist
It was
is
just
that,
so
like,
bad.
I have to die first now, and we expect it to be Sharif because he's the one with the technical difficulties, but it's got to be me first. And then the trick is that somehow you're all stuck on the call because like no one can end the recording.
At that point, just get up and walk away.
Yeah, like something's gonna happen. Like somehow like your rooms get locked in and it won't let
I'm-
you out
I'm
until
here.
the video's over. Sharif is here. Good. The ghost.
What
is
I
not
want to
coming.
know is like, how would it be kind of funny if like the person who survived solely because their internet was bad, like their connectivity was bad.
The
So like the ghost couldn't
over
get
the
through to them.
dial-up.
They're just like, God, this internet. Mom, like pay the bill. This internet's terrible. They're like on a
Yeah,
free
well,
like
job.
they're on like a free McDonald's Wi-Fi server.
That feels like the like solution to like a cheesy early 2000s horror where like they just need to get somewhere where there's no more service and the ghost will be trapped forever. I love it.
That'd be great. There's just one guy in a McDonald's using their Wi-Fi, and just horrible things are happening on his screen, but they're like really glitchy. Like the McDonald's employees are like, "What the fuck is going?" I don't
Like,
know,
sir,
man. I can't.
sir, order something.
Uh,
You can't just be in here.
Yeah, I'll just get a water, please. That's not gonna work anymore, sir.
That worked the first 3 times. We're wise to it. We're on to you. You got to order food.
so,
We have a dollar
did-
menu. It's not that expensive.
Can I go off topic and say how funny? Oh God, there's Sharif goes.
poor man. He's not catching a break today.
No, he's not. Can I just say off topic how funny it is seeing McDonald's scramble to find ways to hire like children to work for them. They're like offering iPhones and stuff. Well, cuz like I don't know if you've noticed this, but people are quitting their shitty service jobs left and right because employment benefits of being off of those services are just outweighing the shitty job.
Oh yeah, because right now like unemployment's really good.
Yeah, and like people are realizing like, holy shit, this is amazing to just be like to have time to focus on. Like most people are like going back to school. They're like taking up jobs they actually like. You know, they're taking their time to like build their portfolios and stuff. So like they're actually doing what they want to do at McDonald's and Sonic and all these other places are like coming up with all these gimmicks to try and get people to come. They're like offering people like free burgers for the first month.
That's
It's
so
just
weird.
the stupidest shit. They're just like, oh, please come back. And it's like, dude, just pay them more. They'll people will work for you if you pay them more.
Nah, not good enough. But my last news story. I don't know if Sharif can actually hear us. Sharif,
Yes.
okay. If you want, just do audio only. Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that should hold for now, since it seems like the service is tough in your area right now. I think you're the only one of us that's probably played this at all, but I tossed it in because I assumed people might be into this. For those of you who are mobile game enthusiasts and are fans of My Hero, they have a new My Hero mobile game. One of those like little actiony ones just came out instead of giving us another real video game. Sharif, you played it a bit. How is it?
Oh yeah, My Hero Academia, the strongest hero. Let me see if I can get this out before I die. It's an actual it's an RPG kind of openish world type of game, action-based game. For those of you who play mobile games like that, if you are familiar with games like Honkai Impact or even recently Genshin Impact, it takes a lot of stuff from that. Kind of like having like an open city you can run around. It's got an online PvP aspect to it. Been playing it for a few days. It did have a very rough launch. The launch was really, really rough. A lot of people weren't expecting, I guess the developers, because I think it was a game that was developed out in like China or something like that. I guess they weren't ready to hold those servers of people coming in. But it's okay. It's a pretty fun game as of right now. I've been enjoying it.
Cool. So before we move on to the main event, does anybody have any other anime news they want to add onto the docket? Any cool stuff announced or things that I missed? I tried to keep it a little on the shorter side in case you guys had cool stuff.
I didn't see anything else. Obviously, the big news kind of just dominated everything. So
Definitely.
RIP to a real one.
And with that, we're going to move into a topic that lets us escape this reality. Sharif, what are we talking about this week?
Oh boy, oh buddy, I'm gonna love this. So it's kind of funny because Taylor has actually like a little blurb that he wants to put out before we get once I introduce this. But today we are talking about your favorite getaway subgenre of anime, Isekai. We're talking about Isekai. For people who do not know, Isekai anime, or just the Isekai in general, is just it just literally translates to just transported to another world or another world. So if you have watched any anime, because there's a shit ton of them at the moment, there's a whole bunch. Actually, Taylor, tell the people at home how many Isekai anime that we've had just so far this year alone.
Just this year alone?
Yeah, this year alone.
Let's see. I didn't count that. I started in the beginning of 2020.
Oh, okay.
That's
how many
I started? And we have 18. We have 18 so far this decade. We have 5 this season alone, and next season we have 7.
So the isekai genre is actually pretty huge. I mean, honestly, for me lately, I've been watching. I actually started Reincarnated as a Slime season 2. Watched the first few episodes of that. Also started watching Princess Connect, which is another isekai anime. But I kind of want to just kind of talk about it because it's one of those things that in the last few years it's been so big, and maybe I know I have my favorites, like I like Overlord and stuff. But what do you guys what do you think is such the big draw with isekai? Like, is it just the trope of just being sent to another world? But they get ridiculous. Like, I've been reincarnated as a bathtub. I've been reincarnated as a hot spring. I've been reincarnated as a vending machine. It's a lot. It's a lot. But
those are all real, by the way.
Yeah.
These are not lies.
I got a theory. As soon as you mentioned what the topic was last week, and I had a moment to think about it, because you mentioned that it's kind of a more popular trope now, right? Like it's a kind of its growth is somewhat exponential and seems to be more common now than it used to be as a subgenre. It's because everything sucks. I'm not even kidding. That is the defining like picture of our moment. Everything sucks. And here's the thing, like, okay, I got reincarnated as a slime. You're thinking like, well, why would somebody want to be transported to a world where like things suck more? It's because the rules are easier to understand and you understand your place in the broader universe of that world. Like the reason these are popular escapist tropes is because it like things just kind of suck now, especially in Japan. I know last week we were talking about kind of the predicament of life in Japan under like late stage capitalism. They're like things just kind of suck. Like most people want to escape and they're finding more and more reasons why they need to be anywhere else but right here right now. It's like as good as things are getting in the kind of like broad sense of the word, like technological advancements, like there's like stuff that we should be excited for. Like the future should be an exciting concept, but it's kind of clearly not. You can almost see that in the way that like sci-fi was looked at in the early 20th century as opposed to how it's looked at now, where most of it's just dystopian, nightmarish nonsense. Because right now in this moment, that's what it feels like things are heading towards. Our anxieties are kind of showing through the media we consume because artists are just that's what they're drawing from. They're drawing from their general anxieties about the world. And maybe even part of it's their hope for what the world could be. But the reality is it's like this subgenre is the ultimate escapism. Like go to somewhere else, completely different. But that's my broad theory.
Okay. Scott, what were you gonna say?
I don't know. Taylor looks like he's got thoughts down there. You need a minute, or you want to take it now?
Oh no, it's all you. I just
right,
I hate Isekai.
See, so my theory is a little different from Aaron's because Aaron is the eternal to gloom and doom. I think a lot of it is because we're getting. I think it's a couple things. One, and this is definitely the biggest part, is all the creators that are our generation, right, are starting to come up, and we grew up with video games, like entire generation, like we've never not had them. And because of that, like when we think of these like ideas of like, man, what like a cool adventure or escapist thing would I want to be, more and more of these creators that are coming up are like video games, or like they the only one that I think of like a show that was like this growing up was Dot Hack, and Dot Hack was like a really serious drama, so that like that's part of it, is it's the influences we had growing up, whereas because there's always been these stories, right, like Kid in King Arthur's Court and stuff like that, where you go back in time. Normally it would be, and nowadays it's different because now it's like, oh, we go into the game when we play the game, we go into like the world that uses video game rules, and we do that. So I think that's a big part of it. And the other thing is Isekai is a super overly malleable genre. You can literally make up fucking anything. Like, there's a show right now, like two of the biggest Isekai are one where a dude becomes a slime and the other is a chick becomes a spider. And that's entire, like, 30-plus episode series, and they can just run with it. So it has so much scope. They can do anything that they want. It also leaves openings like something like Overlord, where you can kind of, to an extent, comfortably explore your protagonist being the villain without them being the most, like, the biggest dick in the world, which does, like, it's like, I think it's just the variety they can have, along with the, abundance and acceptance of things like video games and other worlds and stuff like that, just becoming very common place and becoming part of the zeitgeist.
Yeah, no, I no, and I think there is a lot of truth to that. A thing that I actually found here was that there's actually from I guess within the last 10 years, evidently it's easier for a lot of not even mangaka, but a lot of just writers in Japan to publish light novels. Yep. And the light novels have increased by like from what I'm saying, like light novels increased in like the last 10 years by like over like by like 50%, over 50%. So there's a lot of writers in Japan that are releasing light novels, and a lot of the isekais that we're getting are just adapted from light novels. And back in the day, like when we were all watching anime as we children, like a lot of the stuff that we used to watch actually had like an actual manga counterpart, where like some stuff now are getting a manga counterpart, but the original material is from a light novel.
Yeah.
So that boom, like there's been a huge boom also as well, is light novels being adapted straight into an anime and then a manga gets made. So that's been happening a lot with a lot of series that's been being produced as well. So as far as, so that's kind of like just kind of like some fun little food for thought as far as like how a lot of these isekais are just like light novels. They're just they're just these books.
They're kind of fun, light escapism. As you mentioned, they're easier to publish, and while the mangaka scene is like insanely competitive, and in order to maintain your spot in like the mangaka world, you're talking ridiculous amount of work and hours into every week, which is just not like a practice that a lot of people can keep up with. It's rough. It's hard. So like these, I imagine light novels are quite a quite easier way to get your way into the public consciousness, and also they lend themselves to more light stories, right?
I have a dumb question because I've never actually looked this up.
Okay.
What actually is a light novel?
It's like
It's
hold on. Hey Google, what's a light novel?
According to Wikipedia, a light novel is a style of Japanese young adult novel primarily targeting high school and middle school students. The term light novel is a weisei eigo, or a Japanese term formed from words in the English language. Light novels are often called ranobi, or in English, lame.
Sure.
So
There you
okay.
go.
So they're basically
go.
like YA novels.
Yeah, kinda.
I like that. That's what I'm trying to write. Let's go.
So it's kind of funny because all the and it could be, and like Aaron, and like what Aaron said, I believe also does have a little bit of truth to it. Like because they work so hard, because there's such a work oriented culture over there in Japan, like having stuff that is like an escapism is probably more attractive than it probably here is in the West. Because it's funny because isekai is kind of having like a burnout syndrome. It's like a lot of people here in the West are burnt out by isekai anime. Taylor's not the only one. If my camera was on, I'd be raising my hand as well. But I think it's one of those things where we've gotten so many isekai now, like as far as like the West side, and as far as like our culture when it comes to working on this side is way more lax than it would be over there. So I guess I kind of want to like push this over to Taylor, because Taylor watches way more watches more anime than me. I know I watch my good share of isekai, but what are some of like your biggest deterrents, I guess, when you're like looking through a season of anime and you're like, oh, here's an isekai, like what's like, because I know you have the burnout more than I do,
Bro. Every now and again, I'll look up a future like season, like what's about to air, and I swear to God, I just looked at like next season just to see. Oh, I don't know what's happening, and I ran into legit seven stories that say he was brought to another world, he was reincarnated in another world, he died and ended up in another world, and I'm like. It's gotten to the point now to where if I see that, I just skip it completely. Cause I'm just not interested. I'm not interested. Like 9 out of every like, I'm not gonna say 9, like maybe like 7 out of every 10 isekai is basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
And they all kind of come together with the same core like plot. Guy either dies or gets transported to another world. Once he gets to the other world, he's basically busted. Everybody loves him, and he gets a harem with no effort.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
Now, there
why
are
would-
exceptions.
That's
There
true.
are exceptions. Like one of the biggest ones in the last, I'd probably say like 4 years has been like God damn it, what is it? Shield Hero.
Shield Hero. Yeah.
I forgot the entire name of it.
Rising of the Shield Hero.
Yeah, the Rising of a Shield Hero. That one was really good in the beginning because it didn't follow the trope.
Yeah.
He got dragged into another world against his will, which happens a lot. But he came in, and it's like everybody was kind of like, "Ugh, Shield Hero. Ugh, you're here because you have to be. It's not like we want you here."
It's
And
cool
then he
because like
gets,
we get
you
to watch
know-
him build up, as opposed to most of these other guys. Like they just get it handed to them. Like they show up
Yeah.
and they're like they're dope from day one.
But the one thing that I personally don't like about Shield Hero, and it's blasphemous to say I don't like Shield Hero, but I don't care anymore. Like in the beginning, like it was good because it was unique and it didn't follow any of the tropes, and by the end, it followed every single one of the tropes.
Got you.
It's better because he had his name cleared, but there was still people who did love him throughout the entirety of the show. They were mistreated citizens, so I let that go. But the one thing that I really hated was that how actually busted his shield was. Like he was by far the best hero there.
Yeah, I guess not to make this like it's just a debate about Shield Hero. Like the reason I like that is because like it's the difference of effort between the protagonists, right? Like or the heroes, not the protagonists, because the other three heroes show up and they're immediately OP, right? They're like the normal isekai protagonists, but only one of them like works hard at it. It's the fucking the like cool guy is the only one who actually tries like to get better and like tries to pay attention to the situation, whereas like the spear guy and the bow guy are just like out there being whatever. And because they don't try and they don't experiment, they don't learn how to use their weapons beyond like doing a big attack, they don't improve. But I forget his name, it's been a minute, but like Shield Hero has no other option but like he has no other option but to learn how to use and adapt his powers. And it's interesting because he is very strong and he has like some broken tendencies, but he's also, even with all his efforts, still not enough to like help them with whatever's coming next, right? Which is kind of cool.
Oh no, like now Fumi is basically the only competent one there.
Yeah, but even still, like he barely like scrapes by when you find out what like the big twist is at the end of season 1. So that's why like I liked it. I also just think it does have some good like heartfelt moments and some good funnies. I like the big chicken that wants to eat the other chickens.
Yeah, like I'm fine with Shield Hero as a show. It was just the one gripe I had with it. It kind of turned like generic by the end.
I feel that, but I think that like that. I think I get from my feelings with isekai is that it's kind of similar to the way like battle tropes are, right? And battle trope is kind of faded right now, but or like the battle tropes that succeed try really hard to not be just straight battle trope manga anymore, because I love them, but there are so many that are just like, because I mean, back when like the big three were the big three, that's all we got because everybody wanted to be the big three again, and that's I think kind of what happened is that Sword Art came out and that one spun out of control. And everybody wanted to be SAO, man, like because SAO is like DBZ was with like getting a new game every year still. Like I don't know anyone that likes Sword Art. I've yet to meet somebody in the past like 5 years that will come up to me and be like, dude, have you watched the new like SAO season? But there's always new content for it.
That's true. I got something to say about this. Bear with me.
Okay.
You mentioned that isekais kind of have a burnout in the West, but it's kind of funny because we have our own versions that are quite similar in many ways. I'll give you a good example. What was one of the biggest properties that came out in the last 5 years? It was a story about a guy who lived in a video game world where he was so smart and knew everything about pop culture that he became winner of the ultimate nerd prize game. That was obviously oh shit, I'm forgetting the name of it. Oh, Ready Player One.
Oh, I was about to be like, where is he? What is this?
I didn't know what you were going
talking
for. I don't like Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. Regardless of what you think of it, it was a huge property. It was a big YA novel, despite how dumb it is. But it harps on all the same tropes and pulls from all.
Before you keep going, Aaron, I think we can all agree that if a super hot girl has a minor facial scar, she is god awful. We should burn her at the stake, right? That's enough to like ostracize her forever, right? And nobody will ever like her. That's enough.
Oh god, it's stupid. I hate.
And that's how I love you forever.
But I get what Aaron, you're saying. Like there is a lot of American media that does adapt from Isekai, but it's
This is, I'm sorry. This is where I was going with this. There's one more property that much like SAO is very similar in the way that when you ask people, they say they don't like it, but it draws the money in, and it makes the Avatar.
Oh yeah,
the last Airbender.
No,
the blue people.
The blue people.
I thought that movie, I thought people loved that movie.
No, well, here's the thing. You ask people now, they say like, I don't really like it that much. It's very tropey. It's all that. But when it came out, it was bank. They
sound like hipsters.
Well, that's the thing. So like everybody now kind of does like a little bit of mental gymnastics about what their feelings toward it were. But essentially, it has all the same properties as something like SAO does. You know, like you have this alienated figure, much like the main character of SAO. He's this alienated figure that nobody likes, and he comes to this other world and just becomes the ultimate figure with which to rally behind. And again, I think that points to a sort of a cultural synthesis between our two countries in which people are hungry for this type of escapism. Like, again, people say like, I'm not a big Avatar fan, but like Disney World has a whole Avatar world now, and people are like heavily invested in it. People are heavily invested in the world of Avatar. People could say what they want about the movie, but like when it comes to the world, so many people love Avatar. They like love the world. They love the world building. It doesn't matter if everything on that planet's trying to kill them. They want to be a Navid. Like they desperately want to be a Navid. Because again, they just feel powerless in their own setting. So like they have to find that connection to something that they can kind of wrap their heads around. And SAO is especially egregious of this because it's just like, yeah, like we all want to be in a world where we understand the rules completely. Like the main character of SAO is somebody who's played a lot of RPGs. He understands how they function, how to like gain the system, and become the best that you could possibly be. And we all want to be that. We all want to have control over our lives in a way where it's like, I understand the rules of this world and I can beat it. Because most of us don't know what the fuck's going on at any given time. Like nobody knows what they're doing. We're all just like stumbling ass backwards into the world and hoping for the best. But if you could be in a world where you understood what the rules of the universe are, even if they're like kind of shitty, like obviously in SAO, like you die in the world, you die in the real world, but it's like, yeah, but I understand how to like get XP. So like that's not very similar to what I'm dealing with here. I can't gain XP and become more powerful of a figure. But that's what I mean. There's like a kind of central drive to what motivates these stories that I think carries through and why they're so popular and explosive of a subgenre.
It's definitely
I agree.
Yeah, it's definitely a genre that leads itself to having the singular hero, right? Like they like unstoppable, like unconquerable, like hero, like that old school like 80s protagonist guy that comes in. It's just awesome. He definitely does that a lot.
The Arnold Schwarzenegger of your own world.
Which, because Grimjaw in the chat mentioned it, and I know Sharif wants to talk about it, Overlord.
Overlord. Oh, that's you talking about my bone daddy? What's up?
Yeah. So
if correct me if I'm wrong, that's the one about the like creepy skull-headed guy that like has a love interest with this young girl. I don't know much about the
you're
plot.
talking about Magus. That's a different show.
Oh, okay. I was like,
You had it
is
half
lit,
right. I haven't seen the Ancient Magus' Bride, but I want to.
It's
I
lit.
hear it's very good.
I heard it's
Yeah, the
good.
Vegas-
That's why
yeah,
I was like confused.
No,
So
Overlord.
what's over?
Sharif, you want to break down Overlord?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, okay. So basically, I'll just kind of try and summarize it really quick. It's basically about Ainz. He's playing his favorite MMO, and the servers are actually gonna go offline. So because the game is like dying, or the game is shutting down, he decides to spend his last few moments just in this, playing the game and just staying into the servers until the server closes down and his game is like his favorite game is over. And then as he actually takes a nap or whatever, and then he wakes up, then he realizes that his world is real. But I guess the kind of the intrigue that drives Overlord, I feel like, and why I feel like, me personally, Overlord is a little bit better at does the isekai, wow, I can't even talk, the isekai trope a little better, is because a lot of the wonder isn't because Ainz was already a super powerful player. Like they kind of let that be known, but the thing is he doesn't know if he is the only player, or he was the only one in the servers when the servers closed. And the thing is a lot of the stuff is this, like, a lot of his game knowledge does translate, but there are also new things that didn't happen in the game as well. So he's kind of like using his experience, but then unexpected things are still happening as he's trying to, conquer and take over the world. And the world building in Overlord is just great. It's top tier world building in Overlord. So that's just kind of like a general overview of what Overlord is in a nutshell, which is also adapted from a light novel as well. So
Oh, I just did not know what that show was, but we were all talking about it, so I figured I'd need to know.
I would say Overlord is probably like in the big like 3 for Isekai, right? Like it's probably SAO, Overlord, and Shield Hero right now. Like Slime is getting up there.
I would say I would definitely put Slime in the tops.
Yeah. When I say big 3, I mean like the most profitable, the most well known. Not necessarily the best. That's what I mean. Like, because the big 3. If anybody doesn't know, like the big 3 from the early 2010s and stuff, or early 2000s, that's One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, and not all those shows panned out great. So anyway, but they were the big 3.
What was your big 3 for the Isekai?
I would say right now it's probably like Shield Hero, SAO, and Overlord. I could be wrong, but
I would take out Shield Hero, put ReZero in there.
You are correct. ReZero is
ReZero's really big. Yeah,
I can't get into that show.
So you're saying that that time I was reincarnated as a hot spring is not like top tier?
Oh, so that's okay. So I wanted to get into that too, because like with the oversaturation of kind of like isekai at the moment, we're getting a lot of these really weird one-off ones, like reincarnated as a vending machine, reincarnated as a hot spring. Oh, I was sent to another world with my smartphone.
Yep, that is a real show.
Okay, that one actually totally makes sense to me because like whomst among us hasn't like kind of fantasized about going back in time with like a piece of modern technology and just like just conquering the entire world because you have a phone.
I mean, we've all fantasized about it, but the phone wouldn't work if there's no cell phone tower.
Possibly true. But
the whole thing's just done, and you can't recharge it. There's no charger.
The Wi-Fi signals you see break through the temporal plane that separates our time from the other time. Listen, this is the best part about isekais. I get to make up whatever rules I want. It don't matter. Like, unlike the waves that we perceive normally, you see telephone waves, they're vibrating at a different frequency and therefore can receive reception.
If the sun is out, it works.
Yeah, Grimjaw in the chat mentions that Solo Leveling is another good one. That's a Korean manhwa, so it's like Isekai is transcending like Japan now. Like it is starting to move into more and more areas that's interesting.
Yeah.
Hell is so.
I do think it's like I do think Isekai is kind of like, at the moment, it's kind of like the ultimate power fantasy.
Yeah.
Just it, because you go somewhere else, you either learn the rules. I think one of the biggest things, I think, like when I think about like Isekai, or like, and I guess we could all chime in on this, we could do like a round robin or a round table on this, is maybe one thing you would probably like to see in an Isekai, or what would you like to see different. I think the biggest thing is, I think this kind of goes to what like Shield Hero and like OG Digimon is, them like the goal was to get back home. It's not like everyone's like, I like Isekai is cool to like, escape from another world, but like to escape to another world. But I think the coolest thing was like the reality of it. And the only reason I bring up OG Digimon, it was like, it's not like they didn't love the digital world, but at the same time, like, those kids had like parents, and they had parents and family and friends that they actually wanted to go home to. So yeah, you're enjoying this world, but like the goal was to get home. Like the goal was to go back to normalcy. And like everyone trying to take over the world is just, it's at this point, I feel like it's getting a little played out. So maybe something different, maybe something a little different, kind of like Shield Hero, where now Fumi wanted to go home in the beginning. I don't know about it now after the end of the first season, but that would be something I would probably change. It's kind of like, let's kind of reinvent the wheel as far as like how the characters should go about being in the world.
Yeah, like I like seeing different goals.
Forgot.
That's one of the reasons I like Reincarnated as a Slime, is because his goal isn't to become the strongest person in the world. His goal isn't to conquer all these other nations. His goal isn't to do any of these crazy things. He has two very simple goals. He wants to build a place where him and his friend Tempest can live, and all these people who have become his friends can live safely, and to get the revenge for his friend that is gone now, like, because she couldn't complete that. Like, that's it. That's all he wants to do. Like, he wants to avenge her because she failed to do so before she died, and to have a home. That's it. It's the simplest thing, and it makes us, and it's cool seeing how much he has to go through to get to these two simple things in life.
Yeah.
And all the like steps he's taking along the way to now take care of more and more people. That's why I've gotten really into like Slime. So
yeah, I like Slime for those reasons too. Cause I know you, what would you change about Isekai? I know you got something there.
I mean, you basically said it. But I also, I feel like if you get summoned or dragged into a new world against your will, your number one priority should be to go back home. Mm-hmm. and not be like, I guess what I really want is like some originality. Mm-hmm. Like something like what is it's Otome game. Mm-hmm. It's where this girl gets I don't know if she gets reincarnated or she just ends up in her favorite game, but she ends up as like the villain. Mm-hmm. And every route either leads to her dying or being exiled. So she's trying her hardest to not trigger any of those events. And she ends up kind of making a reverse harem, but it's like her being like a goofball and not like a oh, okay, she was nice to me once. It's like, no, this girl is actually really, really stupid, but sweet and stupid at the same time. And she's such a lovable character that everyone just falls in love with her. But she keeps triggering events anyway that's gonna lead to her dying. So like something like that is like, it's like funny. Something like Konosuba, where this guy dies completely against like the flow of destiny. Like, this dude was a shut-in need. He was not supposed to be outside. He was a selfish prick. He wasn't supposed to try to save anybody. And he does that, and they're just like,
Full on
yeah,
Yusuke Urameshi, like, we didn't think you would jump in front of the car. The kid wasn't gonna fucking die anyway.
Like, it was gonna just swerve to the left. It wasn't gonna hit him, and he's like, bro, I died for nothing.
Carry the saying, go be a detective.
But no, like, the thing that makes Konosuba so good is that he didn't even die being hit by anything. He thought he was about to get hit by something. He died of a heart attack. The goddess who was there laughed at him in his face and ridiculed him for it. And she's like, I'm a good goddess. I'll send you to your next life. I'll give you one thing to take with you. And he was like, fuck that. I'm taking your ass. And she's like, wait, what? So then they get dragged into this world, and she's basically worthless. And he's basically worthless. And they're like, oh yeah, you're the savior. You gotta beat the demon. And he's like, but I'm just a regular dude, and the goddess is worthless. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? The whole thing is a comedy. It's fantastic.
I'm gonna have to give.
So originality is my point.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Like, that's one of the reasons, like, it's kind of like a reverse isekai, but that's why I liked The Devil is a Part-Timer, is because it's about...
I was about to say that. I was like, even stories that aren't explicitly like this person was transported to another world, it's like he's operating... It's very similar to just a fish out of water story, where it's like, I'm used to this way of doing things and this kind of like level of power and stuff, and I'm being put in a situation where I don't really have anything and I have to figure out what's going on. So like, in that sense, it's just very similar to every fish out of water story. It's got a lot of similarities in the tropes. And I think it seems like the consensus is our problem with isekais is that they function mainly as like a power fantasy, and we would like to see something different. We'd like to see almost like a reversal where it's like, I had a lot of power and now I don't, and now I gotta figure this stuff out.
Yeah, those are far more entertaining. My biggest gripe is that it's mostly copy and paste.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole thing where if you take, I think they took like six separate isekai, and they all had the exact same shot of the exact same town. And every time I look at it, I just ball my fist up like Arthur. I get so angry.
I think like, even if they would just go so far as to change like the genre, right? Because like, they're almost all of them are in high fantasy worlds.
Yeah.
It's normally like a high fantasy like RPG style world. Like, I don't know, give me like a weird mech one. Like, I know they kind of did that, but they half-assed it, and it was still magic. Like, give me a world where the dude wakes up and like he used to build Gundam kits or some shit, and now he's in this world where people have mechs, and he's gonna try and like be a mech pilot, something weird. I don't know.
Or like more historical type isekais where it's like you are transported back in time, and now you have to use whatever knowledge you carry from the future to make a life for yourself in this new world.
Inuyasha, yeah.
Which I think is kind of compelling because, like, I often think about what if I was transported back in time, and I often have to. It often gives me a kind of ego death where I realize, like, I don't know how to actually do that much. Like, what the fuck? Like, I would want to share some sort of knowledge of how the future works, and it'd be like, we have these computers, and it'd be like, you can build us one. No. I don't. I have no idea how they work. It's magic, essentially.
It's magic.
Like, even if I wanted to like do something simple, like, oh, I could build like, okay, maybe I'll try and build like a gun, and then like I could be ruler of the world simply by having one weapon that nobody else does. And like even that, I'd be like, shit, how do you make a gun?
Kind of like Dr. Stone is interesting because of like that. Like that's it's not technically an isekai, but like it is interesting in that they're putting this like weird net zero, and it's this clash of ideologies is like the base of it, of like how to rebuild society, and that's really interesting. It's like the battle trope genre I talked about earlier managed to change and shift and find different like forms. Like Food Wars is one of the best like battle tropes you can ever like read, and it's about
Non-battle
food.
battle anime.
Yeah, like it's about cook-offs.
Yeah, I love me some Food Wars. Faux show.
Just do not watch it with other people nearby. You will get weird looks, and people will come ask you to turn your porn down.
You will be ostracized.
Taylor.
Yeah, just so everybody's aware, Taylor is pointing to a poster of a character who is supposed to be an American stand-in, and her central feature is that she has gigantic boobies, and she does meat.
I got this too.
She's a meat expert. That is what he's referring to.
Anyway.
Waifu of the day, Ikumi Mito.
So I do want to
sit right here.
I do want to point out that I thought of something really dumb where I was like, okay, if we're extending, like, if we understand the Isekai correctly, is anybody familiar with an author named Michael Crichton?
Mm-hmm.
I know Scott is. Michael Crichton is responsible for Jurassic Park, Sphere, Congo, highly well-selling books, most of which have been turned into something or another, most of which have failed, with the exception of Jurassic Park. But one of his most successful books is this one called Timeline.
Yeah.
And the plot of Timeline is essentially this group of like historians and scientists get transported back to medieval ages. And like, I'm thinking like, that's actually the ultimate isekai. Now hear me out. It's because one of the characters has basically he's just like a complete nerd for medieval shit. He's just like, he knows everything about the medieval world, and he is their like only way of survival in this new reality. And ultimately, spoilers for a book that's like 40 years old, he decides to stay in the medieval periods and becomes like a king because he's so knowledgeable about this like world. It's quite a weird book, but it's a great book. But it is the ultimate isekai.
Yep. I also think that would be like an interesting thing to have something with like maybe like a Deuteragonist setup where you have more than one person, so it's not one all-powerful
Central
character.
figure.
It is maybe a pair or a like small group of friends who are now in a situation together and trying to solve it, like how to get out, kind of like Digimon, where they are trying to, like, they're making friends and they're having an adventure, but ultimately they want to go home. You know, that alone would bring more tension, is having a like trio of people who each have different experiences and are good at different regular world things, and now have to figure out how to cope with this other world and make those skills apply in order to get home. You know.
Peter Pan.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
Peter Pan is a big
All
one.
right, guys. So one last thing. One last thing. We're just putting you guys on.
Oh no, did he go away? Did Sharif decide to chime in with the challenge and then immediately the computer snapped him?
Oh, I'm here.
All right.
Okay, what's your challenge?
I'm here. I've returned. Oh, what I was gonna say was before we wrap everything up is come up with your most ridiculous isekai title name.
Oh.
Most ridiculous isekai title name?
Yeah. I got one.
Okay.
All I
go
wanted
for it,
to
Sharif.
do is play this stupid card game, and now I'm living it. That's fine.
Pretty good.
I was gonna say, my ridiculous title would be why am I reincarnated as a pop vinyl figure in a hobby store?
Also a pretty good one.
I've been chosen to be an NPC in somebody else's game world.
Bro, how sad would that be, though? That would be so
That would actually
sad.
I'd actually, you know what? That would be a cool isekai. And like, the function of his existence is basically like he has a very limited amount of things he can do. Like he has like a dialogue tree, like he can only do certain actions, and the whole time he's just trying to survive this big epic tale where he is not the main character.
But the progress would be like he's trying to like do just enough to manipulate it to like get a different shade. So like the first thing is he goes from being just a guy who like walks up and down the street to being like in a shop or something.
Right, like He is using his limited. Oh no, there goes Shuri. He's using his limited amount of like dialogue options, action options, specifically to try and manipulate the gameplay in such a way that he survives the entire ordeal.
That's amazing. What do you got, Taylor?
Action star gets reincarnated as a dating sim protagonist. So we gotta watch Arnold Schwarzenegger try to build a harem.
That's too real. That's coming out winter season this year. At the
Let's
moment
go to the
Taylor,
hot springs.
yep, the moment Taylor started that sentence, 3 people in Japan just started making the anime.
Yeah,
They said, holy shit.
dating. Oh yeah, I never thought about the dating.
They out here lurking.
Oh man! And with that, I think we're gonna bring this week's episode to a close. Once again, this is
I got something.
Oh, you got something? What do you got?
I got a question.
Oh, sure.
What's everybody's favorite isekai that they've seen?
Favorite? Yikes! That's.
If you have a top 3, you can say your top 3.
I'm
But
gonna
you
go with
can't
slime.
pick on one
I'm
favorite.
gonna go with reincarnated as a slime because it's mostly a comedy. Sharif ran away from the question.
Dodging questions.
It's a comedy. It is totally different from what I expected. Like I thought it was gonna be like just super powerful guy doing super powerful fighting things, and instead it's been more of him like playing Sims. And it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I've seen enough isekai to like have a good answer. So like I guess I would have to say Digimon because it's like the closest thing I could think to an old anime that I liked that had a basic premise of like we're all sucked in the computer world.
Digimon's lit.
Has
You
the best
got one,
movie ever made.
cuz?
Yeah, no, I'm still here. I would probably say, I'm okay. I'm gonna be super specific when I say Digimon. I'm gonna say Digimon Frontier.
Ooh. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't go across.
I'm gonna say Digimon Frontier.
I'm real surprised you didn't go across.
Yeah. Exactly. I know, and Shoutmon's my favorite Digimon, but I'm gonna say Frontier. I think Frontier was probably still, in my opinion, probably one of the most interesting takes on Digimon. And then my second would probably, Overlord is definitely in that list. And let me see, what else would be my top? I would probably say if there was another one I say I would enjoy it a lot, probably would have been like Shield Hero in recent memory.
Oh, you know what? I got a follow-up question because I like this concept too. If you had to be the one transported into another world, which isekai would you choose?
Damn.
I think that one's a good one, because that one forces you to think like, what are you actually good at, and what could you manipulate in such a way that the odds were in your favor?
Ooh, that's.
Off top, I would say Digimon so I can get an Agumon.
I would kill it at Digimon, man. I'm hella good at Cyber Sleuth, and I'm pretty solid in the Digimon World games.
See, I don't know anything about Digimon anymore, so I'd probably have to pick SAO because I'd know enough to just like murder boars for like 20 days straight. Just out in the field, just killing boars until I'm a god.
See, if I had to pick not like Digimon, I actually think if I could be like one of the heroes in Shield Hero, I'm good enough at video games and RPGs, and like while I hate grinding, I love builds, and like I would cheat the fuck out of that game. Like I am so much better than Naofumi at this. Like he takes days to like think of things, and I'm like, nah, man, you feed everything to the shield. You mix and mix and alchemize, and you get some cool ass builds. Like, let's go. Like, he takes too long to think of things.
And meanwhile, I'm out in the field killing boars.
Yeah.
Be like, what's that guy doing? Like, motherfuckers.
He's leveling up.
Yeah. I'm not going up to the top until I've killed every boar just for hundreds of days straight. Because the best part is like, unlike in the real world where you have to do that kind of grind, you don't get big or anything. You know, you don't get, you don't have health issues or anything. You just do that every day. Sure, it'd be monotonous, but by the time you get to those upper levels, you're just wrecking bosses.
Sharif, are you here enough to give an answer? What isekai you gonna live in?
Gonna be Overlord.
If we do Digimon, though, we could all go together.
We could.
Digimon, digital monster.
Wow, that's right.
Can I be reincarnated as like a gunpla in like a world full of orcs and monsters? I'm literally just a plastic. I'm literally just a plastic gunpla model.
That time Sharif was reincarnated as a gunpla. And with that, guys, I think we're done. If you didn't already know, this is the Super Otaku Show. You can find us wherever podcasts are on the internet. You can also find us at youtube.com/RomanBear streams. You can find us there. You can find other content we have on Roman Bear Productions on YouTube. You can find us at Super Otaku Show 1 on the Twitter, and you can find Taylor Made Otaku and Shooting Star Sheriff both on YouTube as well. They do a ton of anime content. Sharif does games, Taylor does reviews and looks at some really cool anime music, which I did not know there was so much of it out there, which makes me happy. And till next week, tune in next week, and maybe we'll figure out why the hell anime has such long names nowadays. But until then, guys, so long.
Hey.
Bye.